My name is Simon Wigg. I'm one of the two physios here at South East Melbourne Phoenix.
Luke Vella, and I'm the high performance manager.
Derrick Walton Jr, point guard for the South East Melbourne Phoenix.
It's great to be here as the NBL takes it on the road to regional Victoria for the fourth time. South East Melbourne Phoenix play host to a team here in the NBL.
Look at this pass to Derrick Walton Jr. This is what he does.
Yeah.
This is what he's been doing his entire life through the streets of Detroit, University of Michigan. He just knows how to manipulate the defense during the ball screen.
They make the change perhaps to go more like for like with what Brisbane have on the floor.
That Derrick Walton Jr.'s got a problem too in back plate. Straight into the rooms, and it looked like he grabbed at the hamstring. So Phoenix, a man down this trip down the floor.
Getting ready to go lay the ball up and just kind of slipping. And once I slipped, I felt like a pop, I guess you can describe it.
You know, he had probably the perfect storm when it comes to getting that sort of injury. And look, the minute he ran off, or hopped off more to the point, he was wailing for at least 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, definitely tears. Honestly, because this was something I knew I couldn't play through. It was a really kind of scary moment for me, honestly, because I've had teammates who said they hurt their hamstring and they explained it exactly how it happened to me.
I really couldn't have much conversation with him until I consoled him to the point where he was able to converse with me on some ways.
And he was screaming the entire time, I think through pain, but also frustration. He is in a world of pain. I would not expect to see him back here tonight.
Just being realistic with myself, like trying to be positive, but honestly being realistic, and I just knew it wasn't good. It was, I could say it was one of the tougher days for sure.
The speed that he was going at, full stretch, and he literally slipped on the floor, and I knew straight away that it wasn't going to be a run-of-the-mill low-grade strain this time.
Derrick had a high-grade hamstring strain that a couple of days later on imaging showed us that the central tendon was involved. So from the initial stages, the outlook for Derrick was reasonably grim.
Probably one that you never really want to read. To use the analogy, it's like the trunk of a tree, whereas a lot of lower grade hamstring strains, it's more like the branches of a tree. So you really do need that central tendon to hold everything together, basically.
Typically the injury that Derrick has is anywhere between an 8 and 12-week injury, but we know that people live either side of that, and there's scope for an earlier return, there's scope for a later return.
Just kind of the news I knew I was going to hear, but honestly just didn't want to hear, but told me it was a grade 3 strain, and told me the timetable. And honestly, of course, your mind just wonders immediately, like, you just look at the calendar and where it puts you at, and it put me at a point where I knew the regular season was out of contention.
We sat down the day we got the scan results back and mapped everything out, and what would it look like if we were to be in a play-in tournament, what would it look like if we were to make a semi-final, and then of course what it would look like in a championship series.
You can't cheat this. You actually have to go through stage by stage, build up a lot of strength, and start slowly developing a good running program as well.
Oh, nice.
Ain't no nice. Look at our damn snow.
No, that's cool.
Look at the snow, man.
Snow?
Ah, snow's awesome.
Lay back for me, please.
Yep, got me.
Yes, Sirski! I'm colourful as hell today.
So Derrick would have certain strength markers that he would need to achieve to show us that the hamstring was strong, and similarly certain range of movement markers. We used imaging throughout this process to give us an indication as to how the tissue was healing, and so we used an MRI at 4 weeks and again at 6 weeks to help us understand how his level of function tied into the amount of healing that was happening at the injured site, and then obviously your key benchmarks around returning to training and returning to game-like intensities towards the back end of the rehab.
You've got a level of apprehension as well as the discomfort of your injury that you have to deal with, and so part of your rehab in the early stages there's a bit of a leap of faith to do some stuff, because you know you're worried about the actual injury you've got and you don't really want a setback. So we just want to try and get him comfortable and walking without pain, and And when that comes about, normally confidence level goes up, and then you can start trying to challenge him in the gym, which he was excellent right from the get-go.
So you go through this process when managing a soft tissue injury. Typically you have, we call them copers and non-copers. Some people are genetically predisposed to healing quite quickly. And typically it's your guys who are sort of more your fast twitch, highly powerful athletes that tend to heal quite well.
Genetically he is quite gifted. He's a very strong guy. And I just think that he has that potential to play with a bit of discomfort as well. He's very strong of mind as well as body.
Our challenge as a medical team to remain open-minded about how long this process was going to take was really important. We needed to respond to how Derrick was recovering and how his function was returning in his body, and be open-minded to pushing him on if that's what the information that we were getting was telling us to do.
I remember the first time I was running, I know Vela was trying to hold me back because it's just like, I've only played this game throughout my entire career, and I never had an injury that's kind of like sidelined me. So it gave me another sense of appreciation to be able to run and jump again. So running was a huge one. Lifting weights was a huge one for me. But honestly, I think the most excited I've been in a while was probably being able to kind of finally get out and play 5-on-5 again. I think like everybody was like, yo, you look like you just running around crazy. I'm like, bro, you don't. I haven't been able to run for 5 weeks. So just like each milestone just gave me more and more life, I can say. And then obviously each time I get a chance to make a milestone, just try to push it to the exact, all the way to his limits until they tell me to kind of chill out again. So
watching Derrick play, he's such an explosive athlete and he's so quick that he puts himself in positions that you kind of cringe at a little bit, and you sort of cross your fingers and toes and hope for the best. But Wiggy and I sort of bundled up together on the side of the court and we got through it together. The fact that he's been able to come back as quickly as he has is not an accident. During the early stages of his recovery, he'd be spending 6 hours a day in prioritising and working towards recovery. He'd be in with us for probably 2 hours in the morning, and then he'd be off to the Lakahi Recovery Centre in Kilsyth, and he'd be spending 3 hours a day out there doing a combination of cryotherapy, red light therapy and a CVAC. And so he invested a lot in his body, and it wasn't 3 days a week, it was every single day. And we were doing as many things as we possibly could to give us every chance for him to be successful.
I was at Lukai literally every day, just small stuff. It just made me get a bigger picture. I just tried to do as much as possible to just think about it all right, how do I just kind of at least give myself a chance to be back at the level that I know I'm supposed to be at.
You get a real sense of pride in the fact that this athlete is putting their trust in you to get a job done and to look after their bodies. And we know that with Derrick's case in particular, we're pushing the envelope and we're trying to get him back as quickly as we possibly can. And inevitably that carries an element of risk. And so the trust that Derrick put in our medical team and in myself was a huge responsibility that we took enormous pride in.
And it's awesome to see Derrick get to each stage, and I'm really proud of what we as a group and a department has done, and I'm proud of what he's done, because he really struggled in the early days, but it's a forgotten memory now. He's just looking forward to it.
I'm pretty sure I was a pain in the ass with a lot of stuff they were asking me to do, but huge thank you and kudos. It's been easy for me to just be kind of shut down, but they kept me going. So I'm extremely grateful, and I don't think it's one of those things I take lightly. I think I try to let them know how appreciative I am, because it's been a long road, bro. I feel like I've done this twice this year, and they've been with me both times. So it's a huge thank you to all of them, because I'm pretty sure they was taking time out of their days too. It wasn't just me getting back. It was them finding ways to kind of allowed me to have fun within the process. And then, you know, like I said, we made fun of it. And also, we've gotten to a point where I'm able to play again. So it's like, I think the only way I can really show them my appreciation is kind of just playing to the best of my ability, honestly.
Ready to go?
I mean, I don't even really got too many words for that one. Like, it's time to go for real. Appreciate y'all, man. All good, bro. Tell my mama I love her.